Okay, people, here we are, back. We're in live. My last video was from PTR forever ago, and it was kind of terrible. But I'm going to show you. I'm not even PvPing too much anymore, but so I'm going to show you my setup for raiding right here. And so here's my talents right now. I've been using Tiger Lust, and it's pretty good, but I don't really see the need to have the just extra movement instead of just tacking on the sprint to the roll. So I'm recently switched to that, and it's pretty good, and it gets the job done. And in the second tier, I've been using Chi Wave, but I see that Zen Sphere is a little better instead of it just hopping around, because a lot of times I'll be popping Chi Wave when I need to be healed, and someone may be lower than me, and it'll hop over to them instead of healing myself. So I'm going to start taking Zen Sphere. So it starts healing me, and I think it also heals everyone else that's close to me, but don't really care too much about that. I'm not a healer, so I mean it helps a little bit, but whatever. And then a lot of people say something are talking about Chi Burst too, but I don't really see that being too great because you have to stop and cast instead of just being like, oh, here's a global just to throw up my Zen Sphere. And then if you really need the burst heal, you can get another 2 Chi and then pop it. And then you can get that detonating heal or whatever. And then the third tier, there's always been the big thing of this, just kind of a debate on which one's better. I use Ascension because I like to be able to pull 5 Chi when I need it, and then also my energy regen, because I feel that energy regen just across the board, not even just Windwalker Monk, is kind of lacking. But so I use that, but a lot of people like Power Strikes for the three Chi you can get from Jab every like so often. And then Chi Brew is more of if you want some burst on something, you can use Chi Brew and pop all your cooldowns or whatever, and which we don't have that many, and you can just get your Chi back, and so you can just keep kind of bursting into them. And fourth tier, I would probably be better to use Deadly Reach, but I've always used Leg Sweep, and I know in 5.2 Deadly Reach is going to be baseline, and then we get Ring of Peace, but I still think Leg Sweep's going to be better, but I raid with a Boomkin, so like that's AoE silence, we already have that, so I mean, that's, you may need it. I don't, so I'm going to keep Leg Sweep, and it'll be pretty good. Um, and then the fifth, is this the fifth? Yeah, fifth tier, I'm using Dampen Harm because there are more fights where I'm just like, hey, I'm about to get hit by a lot, and I just want to cut that in half. And so I use that, unless it's just a purely magic fight, which I haven't done it yet because I kind of just made the decision to not PvP as much on this character, even though they're going to be like really good. But I kind of like PvPing more on my Shadow Priest, so I'm going to bring him up. But Diffuse Magic is what I usually use for PvP. So, but I'm going to make 2 raid specs now. One's going to use Dampen Harm, one's going to use Diffuse Magic, because I want to be able to, in fights where it's just heavy magic damage, just kind of cut that off, because that 90% is really, really nice. And then on the 90 tier, the final tier, I see Chi Torpedo as more of a healer thing, and then I use the kitty all day, every day, hold it down by myself with my kitty. Yeah. And then Rushing Jadewind is pretty good AoE, but I don't really care too much for it. I AoE and I just Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, and just spam Spinning Crane Kick. So I use Kitty all the time, and he's incredible. He does a lot of damage. And then we go look at my glyphs, and I'm using Spinning Crane Kick because when you're AoEing, you need to be able to move out of stuff. So you move at full speed while you're channeling Crane Kick. It's a pretty good time. Touch of Death, just no longer costing. Was it no longer cost Chi? Yeah. And then, but it has the cooldown increase. It's just pretty good just for sniping KBs and stuff. If you need to just drop something really quickly, that's like an ad or something, and it's decently low, you just kind of take it out, and it's pretty good. And then Touch of Karma is a good way to avoid stuff. Avoid just damage. And my favorite place to use it is on the Garelon fight in Heart of Fear. When he's about to crush, I can just throw that up. I still get stunned, but I don't take that 100 and whatever thousand damage that everyone else does. And so I can alternate. Like the first one, I'll throw Touch of Karma up and absorb that entire thing, and then go back to my job DPSing legs. And then for all the other ones, I can usually use dampen harm. I think I can get 2 before it runs out, like it's 45 seconds or whatever. And I think we usually run 2 crushes in that, and or cut those in half, and then Touch of Karma is basically off cooldown. So there's that. And then my miner's glyph of Blackout Kick is pretty necessary, just to always have the dot instead of trying to heal yourself, because I mean, you've got other ways to heal yourself, so you don't have to have that. And also, it's not easy to keep yourself positioned correctly to do stuff like that in PvE. So just take Glyph of Blackout Kick and get the dot on top of everything. And then my other 2 minors are just personal ones, because I like how they look. I like my Rising Tiger Kick, yeah, just to make it look more like the spec. So it's pretty good. And then Jab, I think it's stupid that they made it to where only one attack uses weapons, and so I was like, I'm just gonna make it to where I always use my fists. So I did that, and it's awesome.